scenario that is there. But we need to have a framework which will cover all kinds of entities and small and big and the other expectations which are coming out around privacy and so on. So none better than Mr. Naavi to talk about this area because he has been an authority in that field and I would request him to share his thoughts.
Thank you, Nandakumar. So good evening, friends. See, we have been talking of cyber insurance for some time now. Whole of the day we discussed about disruptions in the insurance industry, and in that context, for the insurance companies, what are the cyber risks is one aspect of discussion which we need to have. To some extent, Mr. Muralidharan has tried to speak about that landscape of threats which has to be guarded against. Now, I would like to focus a little more specifically on one segment of cyber risk which will come not only for the insurance company directly because they are handling IT, but also because all your customers will enter an era of a new kind of risk which will come forth in the Indian scenario. I call that as the PDPA risk. What is PDPA risk? India is going to pass a legislation called Personal Data Protection Act. See, way back in 2000, for the first time, Information Technology Act was passed. Then the law said that if a company contravenes A, B, C, D, they are liable to pay certain compensation through a system of adjudication. Okay, so there was a system of civil liability being imposed on IT managers if they did not handle their IT matters in a particular way. Non-compliance of that leading to losses would invoke the cyber losses which we are today talking of, cyber insurance coverage. This act, which was the Information Technology Act, was to be invoked only when a victim had suffered a loss which he has documented by filing a police complaint or something like that, and then it would become payable. And the insurance companies were coming in at the appropriate time. The new law which comes in now is of a different nature. The new law, this PDPA, Personal Data Protection Act, is on the lines of what you must have heard called GDPR, the EU law. Here, the emphasis is that an organization has to comply with certain compliance requirements, which could be information security requirements, it could be certain policies, it could be appointing a person called data protection officer in the organization, it would be a requirement to conduct a data protection impact assessment audit, some such administrative measures as well as policy measures and information security measures, the law will say you must do. If you do not do some of these things, that will be called a contravention, and there would be a hefty fine, which is the administrative fine. This administrative fine can go up to 4% of the global turnover of the company. When you say global turnover, certain interconnected companies will come together. Okay. This is what GDPR introduced to the world. 4% of the global turnover, suddenly everybody lost sleep. And they also imposed fines, $100,000, 1 million, 225 million US dollars. That is the background in which Indian law is coming. So this law will require a certain level of compliance. And the cyber insurance, people will rush to you. There is no doubt that the moment act comes, in fact before that itself, people will be knocking at your doors. I did not take cyber crime insurance, but now I want the personal data insurance. Okay, you should be able to provide that insurance. The difference is here we have got this administrative fine. Now, administrative fine comes when a company does not do what it is expected to do as per law, section so and so, so and so. If somebody does not follow the law, should they be given insurance is a question which I have been discussing. GDPR fines are covered. In fact, most of the people are going for insurance only because of GDPR fines, not because the data subjects or the data principals will claim certain losses which will indirectly reflect as a third party claim. That is immaterial. In India, nobody can say I have, my personal data is value 100 rupees. I cannot say that. Okay, so the cumulative effect of such losses is less, and that risk, third party risk, is not on the higher side, but administrative fines are on the higher side. So this will be the essential difference of cyber crime insurance and the data protection insurance which we are coming into at present. The second aspect of this new insurance policy is when somebody agrees to provide administrative fines. I am sure most of the insurance agencies will agree to provide coverage because we are even covering ransomware fines. Okay. So when you cover 4% of the global turnover as the mark, if somebody wants your insurance policy only for say 10 crores, 15 crores, will it amount to under insurance is what I am trying to understand. The insurance industry has to tell. My total liability is 4% of my global turnover of the last year, but I want only 10 crores insurance policy. Now, would you like to say between 10 crores and this global turnover, is it a co-insurance made by me? I don't know. You will have to check up. We have to set certain guidelines for this. Another aspect of this data protection is the value of the asset being insured is very indeterminate because data, personal data goes through a life cycle in an organization from raw data to personal data to sensitive personal data to critical data, then back to de-identified data, back to anonymized data. This life cycle is called a reversible life cycle. The data in the hands of the company keeps on varying in its valuation. How do we ensure that? Morning we are talking of artificial intelligence. Lot of hopes are being put on artificial intelligence that we will see the functioning of the driver in a car, then try to adjust the insurance premium. This is precisely what is called automated decision making arising out of the profiling of a subject, data subject, and all data protection acts, GDPR and others actually bans such profiling, and otherwise in India you should take what is called explicit consent. That is, the data subject should be aware that my information is being collected from my car and that information is being shared with an insurance company. That insurance company may or may not reduce the premium if I am a good driver, but if I am a bad driver, definitely my premium will go up. Okay? Unless the insurance industry proves that we have equal number of reductions of premium in case of good driving, equivalent to some increase in the premium, law will say that you are using this information only to increase the commercial profit, and it will not approve of that because there is also a legal issue. Only a few minutes. Sandbox is another thing which we discussed today. PDPA also talks about sandbox. Now, as I was discussing with one of your participants, the sandbox system of IRDAI is for insurance purpose. There is going to be another sandbox for personal data management. Maybe people in insurance industry will have to deal with two sandboxes. I just explained it in the context of what my friend was telling at the other time. The personal, for managing personal data, in a manner which is violative of the PDPA, but for a specific period purpose. That will be the sandbox arrangement which a company will have to ask from the Data Protection Authority under PDPA. After taking that into consideration, once the permission is given, if it is processed and that processed information is used for insurance decision making, your IRDA sandbox system will come in and you will get the permission. So you will have to work with 2 sandboxes. Now all these complications are likely to be there in the PDPA. One of the aspects which the policy level people should think in insurance is, in China, insurance is no longer dictated by uverme fidei principle. That is the utmost faith concept, where insurance industry will take a proposal and give the insurance. Whatever happens, when the claim comes, we will take a view whether what you have declared is correct or not. They have changed this to honest disclosure system. Okay. Similar changes in insurance law in India has not come. So when I am writing a cyber insurance policy or any other policy, I am, as an insurance company, not under any obligation to do an audit and then take information and then give you the policy. If I do that, I am taking more responsibility than what is required. Today I am happy by giving you a proposal form. If the CISO says my security is best in industry, okay, nobody will say my security is bad. So every CISO will give the best tick as far as his security is concerned. Take that proposal form and keep it. Tomorrow if something wrong happens, you can always tell, you have given this kind of a declaration based on which we gave you the insurance policy. So please look at this changing scenario and see how the insurance industry is able to develop new policies for PDPA risk coverage. That is the point I want to make a mention. If any questions are there, I will later on answer.